Hey guys, FilthyRobot here, bringing you another guides, tips, and tricks video. This time we are talking about Congo. How good is Congo as a civilization? Let's check it out. So, major bonuses that we're looking at. Religious, they're a weird one. So this one may take a few minutes longer. I've been trying to aim for right around 15-20 minutes. This one might take a few minutes longer just because their bonuses are kind of strange. So let's talk about them and talk about the implications of these bonuses. So the first is called Religious Convert. May not build holy site districts, gain great profits, or found religions. Gains all beliefs of any religion that has established itself as a majority of his cities, receives an apostle each time he finishes his unique neighborhood district, or when he finishes a theater square district of that city's majority religion. So that's the type the apostle is of the city's majority religion. If you have no majority religion in that city, I don't believe you receive an apostle at all. You cannot use Stonehenge to found a religion. If you build Stonehenge, you get no profit. And you can't build holy site districts as a whole. Now, this bonus is both worse and better than it reads on paper. One of the big downsides, so if someone spreads a religion to you, especially if they're not actively doing it, if it's just kind of either passive spread to you, or he might convert one of your cities and not really exert himself in converting the rest of your cities, you're not going to get a whole lot of use out of this bonus. Gaining all the beliefs of religion that's established itself in the majority of his cities, you're already going to gain some of these bonuses anyways. Anytime a religion is a majority religion in your city, you gain access to, I believe, the follower beliefs and the building belief. I think it's called the worship belief at the very least. And it may also be enhancer beliefs, although I'm less sure about the enhancer belief portion of that. The ones you're not going to get is you're not going to get the founder belief, right? So if we look at those again, just real quick, let's pull those open. That means you're going to get a worship belief when it's a majority religion, and the worship belief is useless to Congo because the worship belief is a building, always a building. It has to be a building with the worship belief of this, and buildings require that the city has both the shrine and the temple in its holy site before this building can be built, which means that the Congo can never get a building because they cannot build holy sites. So they just can't build these buildings at all. So that's straight up. If you get a religion spread to you, that's worthless. The follower belief, I believe you will get the benefits of. You get the follower belief benefits already, I believe, if it's spread to your religion, I think. You get the... Where's the other one? Oh, the worship beliefs, right. So the founder beliefs are for the person who founds it, I believe. Certainly church property is, and so is tithe, and so is world church. I'm less sure about stewardship. Definitely pilgrimage is, that's definitely only the founder. So the ones I'm unsure about are lay ministry and stewardship. This might apply to the person who has the religion spread to them, even if they are not the founder, but I'm not entirely certain about that. Founder beliefs might only be for the people founding the belief. That would make some sense, but it was inconsistent in Civ5. It may be inconsistent in Civ6, and I am unsure entirely about enhancer beliefs, whether or not these are spread to that or not. So, okay, with that in mind, how does Congo differ? Well, they can't use the worship beliefs. Everybody already gets the follower beliefs if it's a majority religion. If it's the majority religion in the empire, which means the majority of the Congo's cities follow somebody else's religion and follow one other person's religion, then you're also going to get the founder beliefs, which could be powerful except for two things. One, you have no ability to create apostles or inquisitors of your own, so you really can't defend the religion from your land one way or the other. So, in other words, you're at the mercy of other people spreading religion to you. So you can't control which cities are going to have this and which ones aren't. So that's A. And B, players are going to know about your bonus as well. If I'm spreading my religion around and I want to get tithe bonus, so I have gold and other people following this religion, I'm not going to spread it to all of the Congo cities. There's no real benefit for that. I'm going to give him a big bonus for that and not me as much of a bonus. So why would I bother doing that? And I'm not sure about enhancer beliefs. So in other words, if we go back to this, it's a little bit weaker than you think because it's just going to be much harder to create the situation in which this is much of a benefit for you. And the downside of this ability is not only can you not do things like worship beliefs, you can't get those buildings, you can't do any sort of faith-based thing because you cannot generate enough faith in your empire to do that. Any sort of patronizing, of of becoming a patron of the great people, which is in other words purchasing great people with either gold or faith. You just don't have that faith option. Two of the if we look at the second tier of governments, which are available over here from Divine Right and Reformed Church, they have boosts that are build 2 temples, which is not possible for this civilization. They have boosts, have 6 cities following your religion, which is not possible for this civilization. Reformed Church has you can buy land combat units with faith, which you just can't do as the Congo. It's not that you can't buy the unit; it's that actually I'm not even sure you can buy the unit, because units come out of the holy sites. They also come out of the city's capital. I'm not sure if they can buy any units at all. But the point is they can't get the faith generation per turn, because just like science in this game, where science is going to be the more campus sites you have, therefore the more libraries, universities, and research labs you have, therefore most of your science is coming from either the campus adjacency or the buildings in that city. The same with faith. Most of your faith comes from either the adjacency bonuses off the holy sites or the temples and shrines in those holy sites. And since the Congo can't build temples or shrines, they can't get a lot of faith per turn, which means any faith purchasing strategy, be it for great people or be it for military units, is going to be very, very hampered for them. They're going to be unable to do that. Okay. Let's talk about the rest of the bonuses. So that's the downside. I actually think this is probably their weakest ability. I like all of the rest of the abilities of Congo, and I actually think the rest of their abilities are actually really, really good. Although perhaps good in the late game, which is a little bit less good than good in the early game. Let's talk about this. And again, I don't know what the sound NK means, but fuck. That's not in my language. There's no sound for NK like this. So I'll call this Nikishi, and probably not anything resembling to what it actually is, but that's what we're going to call it for the purpose of this video. 2 food, 2 production, and 4 gold from each relic. That's an awesome bonus. We like food. We really like food. We really like production, and gold is okay. And getting these off relics would be awesome. A lot of times, you will find one relic in a game. Not all the times. Maybe like, I don't know, 20, 30% of my games I'm finding a relic off of a tribal village. And that's fantastic. And in the AI games, you may convince an AI to trade you a relic, which would be awesome. And the Congo people are able to hold 5 relics, because their palace has room for 5 great works, and they can put relics in their palace slots. So they could potentially get 5 relics in the early game. And if you were the luckiest guy ever and got 5 relics as Congo, and you then got 10 food and 10 production, that would be amazing. And there's another city state that combos really well with this, which I'm super excited about, that I really would like to use at some point, and that is the city state Candy over here, and which stripper name or city state, don't know, probably not actually called Candy, but let's go with this. They have you receive a relic every time you discover a natural wonder, and earn 50% faith extra from all relics if you are suzerain status with that. And I desperately want to try a game where I am Congo and I spawn near the city state, and I just refuse to scout the map until after I have gained suzerain status with this city state, and then I just go out and find endless relics from finding these natural wonders. That's my dream. That's my dream with Congo. Whether or not that will ever happen seems it's going to be super situational. Probably won't be all that strong. When it does happen, it'll probably be late in finding natural wonders. But it's like the Spain dream in Civilization 5. But now we have a Civ 6 candidate for the ridiculous starting location, coincidental spawn stuff. Because I really would love to have 10 food and 10 production in my capital throughout the course of the game from these relics. And 20 gold per turn, which would be awesome. Okay, cool bonus. Situational and outside of your control, so it's very, very difficult to just to trigger this bonus. Human players are probably not going to be trading you relics. Perhaps the AI will as Congo, but if you can get that bonus rolling, it's going to be really, really awesome. However, it becomes a lot more approachable in the mid game when you can actually go out and dig up artifacts. So you get the same bonus, 2 food, 2 production, and 4 gold you get from getting artifacts and sculptures. And those are actually something you can control. So in the civics tree, once you have hit Renaissance, I guess it's a little bit later than I thought it was, so it's industrial. So you hit Renaissance, you get the ability to build the Archaeological Museum. The Archaeological Museum can hold artifacts. However, you don't actually get the ability to remove artifacts to actually dig them up until natural history, when you can build the archaeologists who can go dig up artifacts. The artifacts count as the same thing for relics for Mvemba, so that the Congo people get +2 food, +2 production, and +4 gold from every artifact that you dig up. Has to be an artifact, can't be great works of art. So you can't have built the art museum. You have to have built the archaeological museum and then built archaeologists and then gone dig dug up antiquity sites. And you get the theming bonus. The theming bonus actually applies to the production bonus. So archaeological museums fill up with 3. And if you theme it, it doubles. So it would normally be 6 food, 6 production, and 12 gold? Or actually, 4 threes, 12 gold. Instead, it doubles and becomes 12 food, 12 production, and 24 gold. And you can have those in each, you can have that in every single city, assuming you find enough archaeological sites to do that with. That is really cool. It's a little bit late in the game. It is late industrial era, although you might be able to get your culture faster than your science if you invest in cultural district sites sooner. You might be able to get here a little bit earlier. And archaeologists are a little bit slow. They take some time to actually get that stuff, and players can kill your archaeologists if they want to. So there is a little bit of downside. You may have to escort those. But if you pull that off and are able to fill up your archaeological museum in each of your cities, those bonuses are pretty good. That's a lot of food and a lot of production and a lot of gold. And that is, food production and gold are the most versatile of the resources in terms of what you can do with that. If you need to go military, you can go military. If you just want to keep investing in infrastructure, you can do that. If you want to buy, you want to, be greedy and save your gold from like military in case you get attacked, and then go some other like district-based strategy, all those things are possible, right? You can do a lot with food and production and gold that you can't do with, for example, other resources. Or in other words, having more food, gold, and production is never going to be a bad thing as a whole. So that's awesome. And it synergizes really well with the unique district, because you're not ever going to have population caps. You're not going to have housing blocks on the Congo cities in the same way that you're going to have housing blocks on all of the other empires in the game. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. Let's read the rest of the bonus though. Okay. Receive double great writer, great artist, and great musician, and great merchant points. I forgot about the merchant point one. That's an interesting bonus. The palace has slots for 5 great works. The palace's slots for 5 great works is actually surprisingly useful for dealing with writers. There aren't really enough writer slots in the game right now, in my opinion. Writers are the first of the great people who are available to you, and you only can get one writer slot per city that has an amphitheater, which means you need a lot of cities to deal with that. There are some wonders that have writer slots, but in general, you end up having more writers than you do anything else when you're trying to do any sort of cultural victory. I don't like bonuses that pigeonhole me into one strategy in terms of a win condition, and unfortunately, there is a little bit of that here. Receiving double great writer, great artist, and great musician points. Great writers, artists, and musicians do one thing and one thing only, and that is they produce culture and tourism for you. So, okay, I guess that's good, and I'm not even 100% sure they provide culture. I know they do tourism. Let's see if they do that. Great artist. Let's try that again. Oops. Does it say anything about great works, relics, and artifacts? Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about that. I believe it's tourism and culture, both from those. So having culture in of itself isn't bad. Even if you're not, my point is, if you're trying to do a victory condition that isn't a tourism victory, having culture is still going to be beneficial to that victory condition, regardless of what your victory condition is. Although having tourism is probably only really going to be useful in the tourism victory of your own. People will say maybe for defending tourism, but I'm pretty sure the way defending tourism works is based almost entirely on culture. So I don't even know if that is accurate. So I don't really care about the writer, artist, and musician points, because most of the times I'm not going to be going for a cultural win. And when I do go for a cultural win, it is a benefit, but it's not that much of a benefit most of the time, the rest of the time. That is not true of great merchant points. Great merchants are excellent. There are really cool great merchants throughout the game that are useful for all victory conditions. So getting double great merchant points is great. I don't know if it's enough that I prioritize building. I mean, commerce hubs are already such a high priority building, high priority district in your cities that I don't think this would change the way in which I prioritize getting commerce hubs up. But it is interesting that this is an extra bonus that the Congo have. Overall, I think from this set of bonuses here, this ability here, Nikishi or whatever the hell it's pronounced, I think the most interesting part of it for me is the food production and gold off relics, and only in the really based on the archaeological museums where you're really going to see that. That basically is a late game production boost of something like, what did we decide? It was 6/2, so it's 12 per city, which is pretty damn good. Or rather, 3 times doubled, which is the same. So 12 production, 12 food in the mid to late game is pretty awesome, although there is a hammer investment associated with that. All right, let's take a look at their unique unit and their unique district, and let's do that. Their unique unit is this guy here, Ngao Mvemba, maybe. Who knows? These letters do not go in combination in English. NG and MB, whatever. Kind of okay. It's not bad. it is a swordsman. It gets plus 10 combat strength. We've already decided in this tier, the second round of videos here, 10 combat strength is a little bit better than we gave it initial credit for. Plus 10 combat strength. I think it's something like 30 combat strength stronger than a unit is close to a one-shot. In other words, if you manage the magic number of plus 30 above another unit, you're going to be in really, really good shape to just crush them. So plus 10 combat strength is a chunk of the way there. That's pretty nice. It is just basic swordsman strength, though, which isn't that great. So 35 combat strength in of itself, that's just raw swordsman strength. We don't really care about that. Can move and see through woods and rainforest. That is a nice little boost because biggest problem with the melee blocker units in this game as they stand right now are they are so slow compared to the other units that ranged units and horse units tend to be much better than the melee units in general, in part because the horse units get fortification and terrain bonuses, which they didn't in Civ 5 and they do in Civ 6, which means that the primary role of these slow melee units, which is blocker style stuff like fortifying on a tile to get the terrain bonuses and the fortification bonuses, horsemen can do as well, which is really, really dumb and hopefully will be modded out in the not too distant future. But as it stands, this unit is a decent blocker unit. It is it can move and see through woods and forests, which is nice. The see-through part, not so much, because it's the swordsman. You're probably done scouting at that point, and if you're having a war, you're going to have plenty of units to see around. So that's not the see part we don't really care about. But the moving through that is useful for getting in position faster, maybe actually able to attack units in a way that other non-special swordsmen couldn't. So that's useful as well. And the plus 10 combat strength when defending against ranged attacks is what the type of bonus that you want in a blocker unit. So now you can have this as well as the promotion. There is a promotion in the swordsman line of promotions that also gives you bonus on, I believe it's called tortoise or turtle or something like this, where you also get some sort of bonus versus range attacks. So that should stack for a nice plus 20 versus them. It's going to make them very difficult to bring down with ranged units. So that is nice as a blocker unit. But again, swordsman, not a super high priority unit. A special swordsman a little bit better. I don't know. I believe the way it works with all of these special units is there is no resource requirement required for the special unit. So in other words, you may not need iron to build these or iron to upgrade into them. And that would be a okay bonus with the caveat that still it is a swordsman replacement and we don't really care that much about melee units as a whole in the base game right now because horse units and ranged units are just generally better in almost every situation. So lots of kind of cool bonuses towards a blocker unit where the blocker unit doesn't really have a role in the game right now. So if that gets balanced a little bit to make blocker units stronger, this unit is going to get much better in comparison. But that's just where it stands right now. Let's talk about the final bonus for the Congo. And that, I zoomed way past it, is here. And this is the neighborhood replacement, their unique district. Normally, neighborhoods are where? Urbanization, right? Let's just double check that. We can check that through this menu. It replaces the neighborhood. Neighborhood is available at urbanization, right? So what this means is Congo gets a... I don't know where to start on this almost because there's like a bunch of interrelated, interlocking concepts here that are important. This is a lot sooner. This is late medieval, the second half of the medieval era, compared to the second half of the industrial era. That's 2 eras sooner that the Congo can build these as opposed to other civs. The fact it's a unique district here means it has a reduced half off base production cost, which is awesome. The downside of this, and it's not even a downside, it's just less of an upside, I guess, is normally districts don't count towards your, neighborhoods don't count towards your district limit. Same way that aqueducts don't count towards your district limit. In general, your cities are limited in the number of districts they can build based on their population. It's something like 1 at 1, 2 at 3, 3 at 7, 4 at 10. It's every 3 population you can build another district. The exceptions to that are neighborhoods and aqueducts, which you can build whenever you want. There are no population restrictions on that. So if you're at 10 pop and you have your 4 existing districts, you can still build a neighborhood in any civilization. So one of the bonuses a unique district gives a civilization is that it doesn't count towards the district limit. If you have a unique district, you can build that for free when it comes towards the population cost associated with that. So Mvemba doesn't get that here because it's already one of the districts that doesn't count towards the district limit. So that's not a downside. That's not a downside at all. I actually think this is one of the absolute best districts in the game because it's 2 eras sooner available than other people get the same district. And this district is a really powerful district. This means for a very cheap cost, because it's a bonus district, and it can be built anywhere there's rainforest or forest, and it doesn't remove the rainforest or forest. You still can't work that tile, but it still counts as rainforest as forest for adjacency bonuses. So that's pretty cool. You can build one of these, and this is 5 housing. So you build one of these, and you have a lot of turns of growth before you have to be worried about housing again. And it's so early. The thing is, most of the time you're getting housing blocked somewhere in around late classical, early medieval. Your cities start to reach a point, especially your primary, your core cities, your capital in particular, a place where you can't really get the housing up anymore. You've built a lot of your tile improvements. You have the plus the half a housing bonus you get from plantations, farms, and pastures and fishing boats. You have all of those pretty much built already. You've used all the tiles you have to a large part. Maybe you've started building a couple of the buildings that give you a little bit more housing, things like universities or armories, but even those are very small amounts of housing, right? Only one for each of those buildings. So there's not a lot of housing in there. You're out of sources of housing in the city. You built your granary, maybe you built your aqueduct, you're out. You can't grow any bigger. You're just blocked by that housing limit. And this comes in right at the time, so this civilization can keep growing its cities. It never has to pause in growing its cities. It just hits the unique neighborhood district, and then its cities can keep shooting up. And I think this is probably the only civ in the game right now, with the possible exception of India, that can really grow tall cities in a way that is competitive with the infinite city sprawl of the other civs. In general, right now, it's just always better to put more cities out. You get more smaller cities that do basically everything a larger city does, because all of the bonus resources come in districts as opposed to in the city itself. So you want a lot of science, you build a lot of cities and build a lot of campuses, you're getting more science than a city that has grown, that has a lot of population, because there's no modifiers for population that make it any better, right? Yes, there is a raw small amount of science per population point, but lots of small cities grow faster than a couple big cities already. So that is already a wide bonus. And then you add to the fact that all your science comes in the fact that campus districts can build science buildings, and that's where you get the bulk of your science from. In general, wide is just a better strategy than tall right now with the current state of the game. The only civ I think that is an exception to that is possibly Mvemba here with the Congo civ. Now, you could just argue that why not grow wide and tall with Congo, and if you have the amenities to do it and you want to invest in the entertainment districts, you might find that this civ just does wide better than other civs do wide as well, and that probably wide Congo is probably still better than tall Congo. But from at least my experiences, at least in the not super late eras, at least up through industrial and maybe into modern, Congo is still competing with maybe 4 cities compared to other people's 8 cities, because the neighborhood district allows us to keep growing to a point where we can get enough centralized production to build wonders to make up for stuff, get enough centralized production and enough population to help offset the downside of not having as many cities. So I really like it. It means that, it's when I released the Germany video, which was the first video I recorded, I believe, for any of this. When I released that video, one of the things that really struck me as interesting for the Germany civilization was how wide Germany could go compared to anybody else. With Germany you can have 3 districts on a 1 pop city as Germany. You can have the industrial district, you have the free imperial districts bonus, and then you have the 1 district you get for having 1 pop. You can go 3 districts in a 1 pop city, which is incredible for Germany. That allows it to go wider than any other civ in the game right now. I'm equally impressed with the Congo bonus, for this neighborhood district bonus alone. It allows you to go taller than any other civ in the game, which means that you have a strategy available to you that no other civ really does, and I think that's super cool. I really, really like that about that. Okay, so let's put this in context then. We talked about all the individual bonuses. Let's talk about what this means as a civ for bonuses as a whole. This is not really a bonus in my opinion at all. I think this is actually a weakness. I don't think it's very good at all. I think this is probably a downside ability to Mvemba. It limits the Congo's ability to decide its strategies. You're never going to win the situation that has to arise for you to win a religious victory as Congo. I don't think it can't occur, right? You can't found a religion, so I don't think you win the game at all with that victory condition, rules that victory condition out. And his other bonus kind of pigeonholes him a little bit into wanting to go a tourism victory. I don't like that type of stuff in general. I like my civs to be flexible so I can play with them in a multiplayer environment where against people who are not going to allow you just to have the same pattern of win condition every single time. However, I think the production bonuses and gold bonuses in here are really cool, and in the late game are really accessible, the mid to late game. You can make these bonuses work for you with the archaeological museums, and I think that's a really big bonus and is really cool and synergizes really nicely with continuing to grow. You get a shit ton of food from this bonus, especially once you have your archaeological museums up, and you have a shit ton of housing with this district here, which means that combined, that's a really cool synergy, and I like synergies. And I think the swordsman is not terrible and will get much better as the modding catches up with the state of the balance right now and fixes some of the problems with melee blocker units compared to other units. At the moment, I think this is a I don't think mediocre. I think this district is powerful enough alone to drive this into a medium to good civ as opposed to medium civ. I think it's above average, this civ as a whole. And I think once the changes come in, or once the modding catches up a little bit with the balance, I think this will become even better of a civ. It's a fun civ to play. It lets you do something that isn't just ICS, which is really, really nice. And overall, I really like them. I think you're going to have a lot of fun when you play this civ. All right, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Come check me out on Twitch. I make a ton of Civ6 content, both guide video style stuff here, as well as gameplay footage from Twitch and also onto YouTube. And hopefully you've enjoyed the guide video as much as I did creating it. Thanks for watching. FilthyRobot out, and I will see you guys soon.